All right, so now that we hit our takedowns and we landed past the guard, so we don't have to worry about passing it, right? We're already in side body, side control, whatever your terminology is. We're gonna talk about two very basic but high percentage submissions from side control that I like, okay? And we're gonna talk about some of these things like in a smaller aspect, but what we're talking about right now is attacking the Kimura, okay? For me, number one, the most important thing is I need to identify, do I have a traditional side control, which is gonna be either controlling Dennis's inside elbow or inside leg. Traditional side control is removing Dennis's capability of hip escaping, right? So if I have those, that's gonna open up a specific type of path for me. If I don't have those, i.e. I can't stop him from hip escaping, then I have more of like a hip check variation of side control, right? So from my access point of jiu-jitsu, I need to do one of two things. I either stop Dennis from defending something or I use his defense against him, right? In this situation, what we're doing is we're gonna be attacking the Kimura, so I'm gonna be in a position to where I'm not stopping him from defending, and I'm gonna use his defense against him if he wants to use it, but I'm gonna chase the Kimura regardless, okay? So I'm gonna hit 4 boxes here. It's gonna be both hips and both shoulders, okay? I'm gonna place my head on the opposite side of my body, so my belly button's gonna go on the inside shoulder, my arm, my free hand is gonna be checking his hip to stay away from me. I don't want his guard coming back. My head is on this hip. I'm gonna be attacking this Kimura on this far side arm of Dennis's left arm. Key here is that I need to be slicing and cutting, not just holding, not having my weight on my elbow. I need to be cutting underneath. So when I'm in this cross-body position, it's really, really important. Let me move this up a little bit louder so you can see. It's really, really important that my elbow's not on the floor because Dennis has the ability to move around. He has a lot of dictation on his elbow. So what I'm doing is keeping my elbow off the floor and cutting it across. I'm also gonna be on my toes and driving, okay? What I'm doing now that I have this arm, okay, and again, you were landing in side control, and let's just say for sake of conversation, we were in this type of side control, which was I wanted traditional, but I'm losing it. My left arm, the arm that's underneath the crossface comes out. It goes immediately across to make sure that hand stays on that side. My other hand now comes out, it goes to the hip. I then place my head on his hip. I then go on my toes, and I'm pressing down on that top shoulder, and I'm already cutting, so it's super simple. What I'll do is I'll put my right knee on the mat close to his ear, and what that'll allow me to do now is use my left toes to drive. So I want to take my thumb, and I want to chase Dennis's face with my thumb, which will allow me to drive him onto his side. Now that I'm driving him onto his side, I'll have the ability to bring my knee close to his body, pick my head up so that arm pops off, and I'm just gonna reach for that Kimura grip, and I'm gonna be inside. For me, it's important that I keep him on his side so that top knee is gonna be pushing him in, my other knee's keeping him inside, and from there I just do my traditional finish of up, over, down. The closer the thumb is to the armpit, the faster the Kimura will go. If it's up here, it's gonna be a lot of rotation. So everything stays in tight. I'm a small guy, so I don't use my arms, I use my body. Everything's gonna be up, over, down, and then finish the Kimura, okay? So again, we don't have traditional side control. He can hip escape. You're gonna see this arm come out from underneath of his head. It's gonna go through this part. I come underneath. I check the hip now so he can't get his guard back. I place my head. I'm on my toes, and I'm keeping my elbow off the mat cutting. I bring my right knee close to his ear, using my left foot to drive him up on top of it, onto his side. Bring my knee in close, reach, and from there use my body to finish the Kimura, okay? Really important here. So if you visualized us doing that takedown, landing in cross body, more than likely Dennis's elbows are gonna be in a good defensive position. If I attempt to keep this type of side control here, Dennis is gonna create frames, he's gonna hip escape, he's gonna get his guard back. In fact, the longer I keep my grips there, the longer I try to force him to be there, the worse positioning I'll end up in because I can't keep it, okay? So it's important to identify that right away, that if you can't stop Dennis from hip escaping, regardless if he tries or not, you should adjust the position. Coming out, going across. Now I don't care if he tries to hip escape, because if he does, he can't get his leg back in for his guard. That'll allow me to switch, cut, drive, rip, and then I'll rip the Kimura. For me, this is one of my highest percentage submissions that I'll hit, gi or no-gi. The details are the same. And as someone who's smaller that doesn't have a lot of weight, it's important for me to not be on my knees and trying to force a position that I can't maintain, right? So identifying if we can stop him from hip escaping or not would be number one. Being in the correct position based upon that response would be number two. And from here, this Kimura is going to be a very strong finish. So the opportunity to take his back, whatever you want, is also there. But this sub is a super high percentage submission to get. And you're not going to have a lot of people defending the understanding of if he's either hip escaping or he's going to get Kimured.